I was watching the Mel Gibson movie, The Passion of Christ, and I love that movie so much. But my favorite and most profound moment, I think, is when Jesus is hanging on the cross and the sky goes dark and the earth rumbles and then it looks like this giant tear comes down from heaven and just splashes in the earth. And I thought about that. I thought about the fact that how did God feel watching them abuse his son the way they did? Did he get angry, or was he just sad because of the condition of man?
Silent as a lamb, he stood before his shearers. Not one defense would he utter. This King of Kings. They stripped him and they beat him and they hung him on a cross.
It's hard to say. I'm sure that he went the full range of emotions. But in that moment, when Jesus cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" I'm sure it drove a stake through the heart of God. Yes, he so loved the world that he gave his only son, but he loved his son. There was no way that that moment passed him by without him having some deep emotional response to it. And I believe that that is why the earth shook. I believe that's why it rained. I believe that perhaps those tears were God himself crying, weeping for his son, weeping for the pain that he went through, but staying focused on the mission at hand because he was determined to win us back to himself and to close the great divide between us and him. The sin that had created a chasm between us, he knew was coming to an end as the blood was shed and Jesus gave his life. And so, the veil in the curtain was rent, but the tears of God flowed as well. And he cried for his son, and he cried for us. I'm sure that those tears were mingled with joy as well as sorrow, as the pain of his son gave way to the victory at hand for all of us in the restoration of humanity back to himself.
I just felt God was so sad about the situation. He could have done something, but he didn't because he knew what was at the other side. But the pain that he had to go through, like what the writer of Hebrews said, for the joy set, he had to endure the shame and the humiliation because he knew that what was coming on the other side was a family that was redeemed and bought by the blood of Jesus.
The day that